Re-
Hey there, everyone, and welcome to Life Coach University and 2023 Let's Coach. My name is Chris Weals, and I am your coach for this session. I'm a life transformation coach. I coach on the foundation of the I am process. That's intentions, awareness, and the mechanics of maintaining your intentions and your awareness. That's I am. Today, I'm going to be talking about one of the fundamental elements that is required for facing change. So whether that's intentional change, you're going through an intentional life transformation process, or whether that's something major that happens that causes life change to happen. So that could be a move, a career change, a great loss. That could be financial, that could be personal. Whenever we are faced with change, whether that's intentional or unintentional change, there is typically a great deal of fear and discomfort involved. And what's required to move forward is courage, right? Because courage is not the absence of fear, it's the experience of fear and moving forward anyway, right, with that fear, right? So I think a lot of people, what happens is they feel afraid, they feel that fear, and they let it stop them from moving forward, right? Because not because they can't move forward, but because they're telling themselves they can't, right? Well, I'm afraid, right? So I can't do it. But that's not your truth, right? If that's where you're at right now, if there's, whether it's a change that happened to you or is happening to you, or if it's something that you're consciously choosing, if you are thinking that you cannot do it, that's not your truth. That is something that the mind is coming up with to protect you, and it's that's basically the mind's job. The mind's job is to keep you safe. And when something feels scary, that's a perceived threat. And so the mind tells you to avoid that thing. And it does so by telling you you can't do it. You're not strong enough. You're not capable. You're not able. And so don't do it. Avoid that thing. Because it's just too hard. You're not strong enough, right? So, but that's your mind trying to protect you, trying to keep you safe from a perceived threat. However, that is not a real threat on your life. And so the mind is confused. And so it's holding you back, not out of malice, but out of confusion, right? It's perceiving things as a threat to your safety, to your life. And so it's trying to protect you, right? So then it's your job, right? You are not your mind. You are not these fearful thoughts. You are not these thoughts of, I'm not good enough. You are more than that, right? You are beyond your mind, beyond your thoughts. And so it's your job as that being, that entity that is more than your thoughts, to wake up and observe and choose again, take command of the mind. Right? The mind is a wonderful, powerful tool. And yet for most of us, it's behind the wheel, right? It's in charge. And we identify with it. We think that's who we are, but that's the mind playing tricks on us. Right. And so when we realize that, and when we start to wake up, then we realize that we can take control. We can be the ones in command, and we can use the mind for our benefit. We can use it as the powerful tool that it is, and we can stop it from using us. We can stop it from running the show. Right. And then we can choose courage. Right. The mind is still going to be there. Right. And it's still going to offer up all of its thoughts on keeping you safe. Right. And a big part of that is it's trying to protect itself. So the subconscious mind, or the ego, if you will, is fighting for its own survival. And so when you wake up and realize this and observe the mind and start to take command of it, it's going to fight you, because it's going to be afraid of its own demise, its own death, the egoic death. And so this will be no small task to take command of the mind, because it's going to fight you. It's going to be fighting for its survival. But again, this is a confusion of the mind. It's not going to die. Your ego isn't going to die, even with you in command. All right, it'll still be there to protect you. It's still going to do its job. It's just you're going to let it do its job when it's needed, instead of running wild and being a little bit overzealous, or a lot overzealous. And so there will still be fear, right? But because you are more conscious, and the real you, the being that is you, can choose courage, right? And so because you know that you can handle whatever it is you're afraid of. All right. And yes, so if it's something that it's new, right? We're talking about change, right? Life transformation. So let's say that's a business that you want to start, right? And there's so many different components to that. You have to figure out the government compliance, the financial side of it, the marketing, the sales, the operations, the whole lot of it, right? And so a lot of this is going to be new to you. So there's going to be a lot of fear and discomfort, and your chances are you're not going to be very good at certain elements of this, right? But that's because it's new, it's change, it's something different. And so when the fearful mind is in charge, it's going to shut you down right before you even get started. It's going to tell you this is too much and you can't do it, and don't even bother trying. Let's stay safe and comfortable here. If we don't try, we can't fail, so that's good. We're going to avoid failure. You definitely don't want to be a failure. And then you prevent yourself, you stop yourself from creating this change that you actually desire, something that you want to experience. And then you wind up feeling defeated, deflated, depressed. You continue to be anxious because you gave in to that fear, right? And so with the conscious mind and choosing the courageous path, right? You can move forward. You can become a beginner at whatever it is. And you can allow yourself that. You can allow yourself to be not so good at something, because you know that with practice, with effort, with repetition, with consistency, with perseverance, you're going to get better at it. You're going to grow. Like, so think back on your life. I was just talking about this with somebody recently, right? And we all have experiences in our life where we learned something and got good at it, right? But at first, we didn't have any experience, so we weren't very good at it. And like for me, school is a good example. I was not a good student. Uh, I was early on, and then I guess I lost interest, or something happened along the way, and I became a very poor student, and I barely made it out of high school. And then I had to basically relearn, or I felt like learning for the first time how to actually be a good student when I was already in college. I think my second year of college, and I actually figured it out, and I got better at it, and I became quite a good student. By the time I wound up with my master's degree, I was good at it, but it took the desire, and it took the willingness to try, right? So it took desire and effort, and facing that fear and that discomfort of trying and failing, right? So if there's always that thought, well, what if I try and I don't succeed? I can't handle that. But that's not true. Even if you try and you don't succeed, you can handle that, for one. And two, if you don't succeed at first, you can always keep trying. You don't have to quit. And if you're worried about what other people will say about you or think about you, again, consciously make the choice to not care so much about that. And do it however you need to, whatever way works for you, to stop caring so much about what other people think. And maybe all you need to do is realize that people really aren't thinking that much about you anyway. If they are, it's very fleeting. Everyone's caught up in their own lives, thinking about themselves, worried about themselves. They have their own fears. They have their own challenges. They have their own interests. They have their own lives, right? And so if people are judging you, that's going to be short-lived, right? And if it's if it's someone closer to you, and they're afraid for you, right? They're worried about you failing. That's their own fear. What you're doing is scary to them, and they're afraid they would fail if they tried it. And so they project that fear onto you. So now their subconscious mind, their ego, is trying to keep you safe, right? Just because they're so afraid. So remember, that has nothing to do with you, right? So if you let their fear stop you, right, then that's you don't want that, right? So accept being a beginner, right? Like, allow yourself to be new at things, and realize and accept that being new at something probably means you're not going to be good at it at first, right? Surfing's another good example for me. I had a lot of fear there. I started learning how to surf when I was in my 30s, and I had an experience when I was a teenager in heavy surf. That was very, very scary. I thought I was going to die. I was rescued by my older brother's friend, who was a really strong swimmer. And I didn't go back out into the waves again after that for a really long time. So when I moved to the beach, I wanted to take up surfing, and I had so much fear. I was afraid of the waves. I was afraid of sharks. I had all of this doubt, this disbelief that I could even learn how to surf and get decent at it. For whatever reason, I just had it in my head that was something that was just too hard for me. And so I had so much fear going into it. I was terrified and I was awful at it. I didn't have the strength or the endurance. And so I would have to take a lot of breaks. I would get so tired. I wouldn't have the paddle strength to like actually catch waves, or the coordination or the skill to pop up and ride them. And I was afraid of getting pummeled by the waves. I was afraid of sharks still and everything. Like it was just, there was so much fear. But I I also had a strong desire. I really wanted to learn it because I've always been into board sports, skateboarding, snowboarding. When I lived near the mountains, and I wanted to keep that going. And since I was living at the beach now, I wanted that to be surfing, something that I can do often. And so I pushed through. I kept going, kept practicing, and slowly I got better, right? And that's what happens, right? When so I, I wasn't confident, like I still, my mind was telling me, hey, this is just too much. It's too hard. It's too scary. Why, don't do it. So I had all this inner resistance, but I have courage, right? And we all have that. Every single one of us has the ability to be afraid and do something anyway, right? Like take that fear with us, and move forward, right? So I wasn't confident, but I was able to tap into my courage, and I grew, I progressed, right? I got better at surfing, and now I have a lot more confidence, right? So if you're waiting to be confident to do something, and I think a lot of us do that, right? Where we're like, well, I can't do yoga. I'm not good at it, or I can't meditate. I'm not good at it. I can't get that higher level position. I don't have the experience, right? Or whatever thing. So like we're not confident, and so we don't try. But before confidence and before skill, before success comes courage, right? Courage has to come first so that we do the scary things, the things that we're not good at yet, the things that we have uncertainty around, right? We don't know if we're going to be successful or not. And so we have to be courageous. We have to be afraid and move forward anyway. And then the skill will start to develop, the confidence will start to develop, the successes will start to show up. We'll have failures, and we'll learn from them, and we'll continue to move forward. And that just adds to our skill building, our confidence building, our success building, right? And all of this comes from first having the courage to try, right? To take action, without confidence, without skill, without experience, with a ton of discomfort and fear. And we show up for ourselves. We keep trying, right? And that's what's needed, right? And so that's, I've been mostly talking about intentional change, right? Doing things that we want for ourselves, but we lack the experience, and so we're afraid. But things happen in life too, right? People we love, who are a big part of our lives, die sometimes, right? Like this is part of life. And sometimes it feels like when that happens, it's too much. And we can't handle it. We're not strong enough. It's too scary. How do I move forward? How do I live without this person in my life? Right. And so, yeah, it's a really difficult, challenging thing to experience, right? And this is so courage, is necessary, right? Or it could be a move to a new location and you don't know anyone, right? And that's scary. Meeting new people, putting yourself out there, being vulnerable. It's scary, right? Or changing careers, even accepting a promotion because it's new. You have new responsibilities. You're a beginner again, right? Maybe you were a rock star at your old job, right? And so you earned a promotion, you accepted that promotion, and now you have new responsibilities, right? Now maybe you're a manager for the first time, so people are reporting to you for the first time, and you don't have experience with this, so you think you don't know what you're doing, and you're probably right. You don't know what you're doing yet, and that's okay, right? So have that uncertainty, that fear, that discomfort, allow that to be there because it's normal, right? That again, that's your brain trying to protect you, and everyone experiences this. And everyone who is wildly successful now started off as a beginner when they first started their endeavor that they're extremely successful at. Now they weren't successful at it at the beginning. They didn't know what they were doing, right? They weren't good at it yet, right? So, but they had the courage to try and keep trying, right? They had the courage to face criticism and failures and feedback and all of these things that are very uncomfortable and scary for us. The only difference is that they had the courage, right? Or not that they had it, it's that they tapped into that. They used their courage because having it isn't different. We all have it. We all have the ability to be afraid of something and do it anyway. Right? That's within each and every one of us. So whatever it is in life, right? And I'm no stranger to fear. I understand how powerful it can be, right? How much of a grip it can have on you. I totally understand that. So if that's where you are right now, you have my compassion. I get it. It can be paralyzing. Absolutely. But you have courage within you, right? You can take a small step forward and then another and then another, right? And so this is courage, taking a small step forward and stacking that on, stack another small step and another one and another one and another one, build, 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 build. Next thing you know, you're going to have a lot of forward momentum going. You're going to start to feel more confident. You're going to develop your skills. You're going to become better at handling whatever it is, whether that's marketing for your new business or selling or learning how to surf, finding friends in a new town, handling a new higher level position with more responsibilities, moving on with your life after losing a loved one, like moving forward, right? Like you're not moving on from them. They'll always be a part of you, right? But you can still live. You can still love. You can still dream and love your life, right? You can be full of joy, even though it might not feel like it. It might be a very dark time for you, might be very scary, might be very uncomfortable, might be very challenging. Your brain might be offering up so many negative thoughts about how you can't do it. It's impossible. There's no way forward. There's no way out. There's no light at the end of this tunnel. Again, this is not you. This is your brain. And it's just overwhelmed. It's flooded with fear and pain. Right? When we lose somebody, it's not just fear, and there's pain, there's grief. Right? And that comes from the love that we shared with this person. But you're still more than that fear. You're still bigger and stronger than that. And so it's just a matter of tapping into the courage that you have, accepting it because it's there already, right? It's already within you. It's just a matter of observing the brain and all of its offerings of doubt and fear and wanting to stay comfortable and small. You can observe that without judgment. No need to judge yourself harshly. No need to make it worse by beating yourself up. All right, observe it, and with the intention of letting it go or shifting your thoughts, or just carrying it along with you as you move forward. Say, yep, I feel you, I hear you, I understand all of your fears, brain, but we can still do this, right? We can still move forward. You're coming with me until you're at a place where you can let it go, or you can change your thoughts, your beliefs, right? You can move forward. You start to move into that confidence, right? And then the fear diminishes. But before that, it's courage, right? And we all have that, and we can all develop that. We can make it grow. We can make it stronger. We can increase our courage with practice. So start small, baby steps, right? And you can start with things that aren't as important to you. What's something that's smaller that you're afraid of? For me, it's like talking on the phone. Like for some reason, I'm not even sure what this fear is about, but if I have to call in and order food or call customer service about something, like I have this irrational fear of talking talking to people on the phone. Like I'd rather get in my car and drive and order food in person and then wait for it and then take it home than call in for some reason, right? And so it's a pretty insignificant thing. It's not a big serious thing. And so I'll practice, just to work on being courageous, I make myself do it. I call in, right? And now it's not a big deal because I've done it enough and realized there's nothing there to even be afraid of, right? And so maybe it's if you're single, you can just start meeting people, talking to them, asking them for their phone number. Or if you're not single, if you're interested in making new friends, you can just go out and start talking to people, because that's probably uncomfortable and scary for you, or whatever thing it is. Start small, build on that. If it's around a business or something like that, or your career, start now and start small and continue to grow, and just know that you can develop your courage. You can become more courageous. You can take more courageous action. The more you do it, the more you practice. And then with that comes more skill, more success, and more confidence. But remember, the courage comes first. All right. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you for listening. And thank you for coming to Life Coach University and 2023 Let's Coach. Be sure you check out all of the other offerings at Life Coach University, the Pay It Forward talks, conferences, the other Let's Coach sessions. And then remember to pay it forward, right? When you gain from this, now you have more to give. So go out into the world and give. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.